Hey guys, welcome to week 6 of class. This week we've got a very important decade to assess, one that in many ways marks some really significant changes in American history. Among other things, you see the first wave of feminism sort of mount during this period. In fact, it sort of came before the 1920s and climaxed in 1920 with the suffrage movement when women gained the right to vote via the 19th Amendment. But you continue to see women during the 1920s, which is the decade we're looking at, really assert themselves in ways that they had never done before. In the social context, there's a sexual liberation that goes on. And indeed, if you're interested in fashion, looking at the fashion of the day, the way that it changed from Victorian-style dress to the flapper-style dress is really representative of the things that women were really seeking to do, and that is to liberate themselves and to seek a type of equality with men, largely in a sort of a social sort of setting. There's some significant differences between this first wave feminism and that of second wave feminism, but we'll get to that later when we get to the 60s and 70s. Among other topics that we will look at, we're also going to be looking at nativism, and in many ways this is a response by native Anglo-white Americans, what we call WASP Americans, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, to a major influx of immigrants. And we talked about the new wave of immigrants earlier, but there is this wave of nativism that sweeps through the United States that will really impact not only the way that immigrants live within the U.S., but it also has an impact on the ability of immigrants to be able to come into the country. As in fact, in 1924, we will pass very restrictive quotas that limit the amount of immigrants that can come in. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be looking at what we call the Roaring Twenties, and indeed the United States boomed economically during the 1920s. This was a period of major industrial development, and people were able to buy consumer goods in ways that they had never done before, and indeed people were spending money rather recklessly, in part in the stock market. And much of the speculation and production that occurred during the 1920s is going to be cause number one, if you will, in many ways for the Great Depression that will come after this decade. So a really significant decade for a number of different reasons, and we're going to be spending some time looking at that. Other things that you need to be aware of course, is that you have your first PowerPoint assignment coming up, and that's going to be due at the end of week 8, so make sure that you're working on that. If you need directions for that, it is in your syllabus, and you can find that in the course information tab in Blackboard. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, it's pretty much all I have for you this week. So with that, I will bid you to go in peace, be warm and filled, may the force be with you, live long and prosper, and may the odds forever be in your favor. All right, guys, have a blessed week.